Hello, hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Malaika's cooking show. On this week's episode of Malaika's Kitchen, we are going to be making a follow-up to the fresh pasta video, and we're gonna make some sauce and meatballs, and it's gonna be delicious, and it's the perfect way to get rid of those bruised and ugly and wilted tomatoes that you have sitting in your kitchen. It's a pretty easy sauce. We basically make a confit, which is cooking something in fat for a really long time. It's just a fancy French word for we're gonna cook some stuff in oil, and we're just gonna use some garlic and some tomatoes, and then we're gonna season it up and let it cook in the oil, and then we're gonna work on our meatballs. It's gonna be fun, it's gonna be delicious. Stay tuned. So here are our main ingredients for the sauce. We're gonna use 5 tomatoes and an entire head of garlic. So one thing I want to mention is that cooking isn't always going to be beautiful and glamorous, and it's not always going to be a movie basically. Sometimes you have to use the wilted and the ugly and the bruised so that you can get something really delicious, and so you don't throw and waste food. So in a nice big pot, we are going to basically just throw in tomatoes, our garlic, and we're gonna add about half a cup of oil. Okay, so the oil is going in, and this is gonna cook for about an hour on medium-high heat. I think that should be good. So we're going to add in about a tablespoon of mixed herbs. If you have fresh herbs, that could be really good. And we're just gonna let this cook together. For our sauce, we're going to reduce the heat and let it continue cooking at a very low temperature, and just let all those flavors get to know each other and all that good stuff.
1 hour later.
So it's been an hour and the sauce is done cooking. It is smelling absolutely delicious, you guys. I wish you could smell this. But what we're going to do is just get all the bits and bobs. And also, if it's a little burnt or it's looking a little brown, that's okay. It just adds to the deliciousness. And then, if you guys know where that's from, you're real OGs. So here I am straining out all the bits. The garlic smells amazing. Okay, it's looking good. Now, we are going to first blend this by itself. Then we're going to slowly strain in some of that oil so it can emulsify and turn creamy and delicious. Okay, make sense? Makes sense. I'm here reassuring myself. Anyways. Okay, so we've emulsified our sauce, we've got it nice and ready, and if you have a little bit leftover oil, that's great, because that's what we're going to cook the meatballs in, and that's coming up right after this. So this is the setup for our meatballs. We have about 1/3 of a kilo of ground beef, we have some freshly made breadcrumbs, some cheddar cheese, an egg, some garlic, some black pepper, some mixed herbs, and some salt. Okay, so let's put together our meatballs, and we're just gonna smush our beef just to make sure that there's uniformity inside, so when it comes to making the meatballs, it's easier. And then, okay, so I forgot to mention that we're going to use some uncooked breadcrumbs because that's what makes the meatballs nice and juicy, and we don't want them to be dry or anything like that. So we're just gonna put together, we're gonna put in our egg. This is some ginger garlic paste, and we're gonna use about a tablespoon's worth. And then we are going to do about a teaspoon of salt. And a teaspoon or so of some black pepper. Then we're gonna put in a teaspoon of mixed herbs. I have to open the packet, so 1 second. Okay, we're back. So we're putting in some mixed herbs. And you wanna be generous with them because we're not using any fresh herbs. You kinda wanna have that earthy, naturey flavor coming through. That should be good. So now we add in our fresh breadcrumbs, which is what keeps the moisture in the meat so we don't have dry meatballs. You want to do about 2 tablespoons. Be generous with it. And then for texture, we're going to add some toasted breadcrumbs. Some panko. I think that's what it's called. Lol. If I'm wrong, I'll just put it on the screen. And finally, we're going to add in a generous amount of cheese. Don't be stingy with the cheese. You know, there's never enough cheese, to be honest. And then we're just gonna bring all of this together and start forming our meatballs. Doesn't this look absolutely delicious? I am sure you can hear the sauce sizzling in the background. So we just want to mix everything up, get everything nice and combined. Really make sure everything is mixed together. Look at how pretty this looks. I don't know, something about the colors is doing it for me. Okay. And now I think we can, you see it's already starting to form, like on its own, it's already starting to form shape. Now we can start building our meatballs. Actually, I think I'm gonna add a tiny bit more breadcrumb. So if you didn't know, the egg and the breadcrumb are basically our binders. It's what makes the meat hold its shape and retain moisture. I know I've probably repeated myself a bunch of times, but I kind of just love how cool this is. Okay, let's start forming our meatballs. So you want to oil the plate or tray that's gonna sit with the meatballs for a while. You can also oil your hands just so it's easier. You know, it's all up to you and your preference. Oh. Okay, so let's Alright, so the meatballs will go into the freezer until we are ready to cook them, just because I don't want them to get too warm and then mushy and then not hold shape basically. So this will go into the freezer, and I also forgot to mention that the ratio between the fat and the beef, when you're getting ground beef, it should be 70-30. So that when you're eating things like burgers and meatballs or anything like this, like dumplings and stuff, You want to have a good balance between the fat and the meat. Look at this cheesy pasta goodness. And yeah, guys, this is our final product. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, and comment for engagement.